The Air Jordan line are kicking off 2021 with two massive shoes, in my opinion. I'm talking about the women's Air Jordan 4 Starfish and the full-size run of the Air Jordan 5 Low Chinese New Year. Two beautiful shoes, and I'll be looking at those today and tomorrow, and starting off today with that women's Air Jordan 4, one of my favourite silhouettes. The 4, a beautiful shoe, starts off with that bread 4, is absolutely one of my favourite shoes of all time. And then here we are coming out with an absolutely classic colorway, which really fits the times because we've got Starfish colorways coming and things like the Air Jordan 13s. It's a beautiful shoe. There's a lot of detailing on it that I want to go through with you guys today. There's a couple of questions that I really want to answer. Particularly, there's one detail on this shoe that really stands out above all of the rest and elevates this shoe above everything else. What is that detail? We'll find out in today's video. And also there's one detail that once you see it, you're kind of like, man, I wish I could see that, because it's a detail that I kind of don't like, and you can't take your eyes off it once it's in there. So we'll get a look at that and all the other detailing on this shoe as we take a close-up look at the Nike Air Jordan 4 Women's Starfish. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, that's all about a shoe that's coming out on January 21st, which is just where we want to be. I love to be about 2 weeks ahead of the drop date, so I can give you guys the inside information on the shoe, have a look at the details on it, and then you get to decide whether or not this is a shoe that you're interested in. Like I say, January 21st is the drop date for these guys, and it's a women's shoe. And I've been into why I don't like women's shoes at the channel before, because I think all shoes, regardless of colorway, should just be available in full-size runs. So we'll park that, but I will tell you that from what I'm understanding, this is going up to a 12 or a 12.5 in a women's, which means a 10 or a 10.5 in the men's. So it's kind of limited who can get their hands on it, and it depends on your foot size, especially for men. Now, I wear a 12.5 men's size, so there's no way that I'm going to be able to fit my feet into these guys. But like I said, the Jordan 4 is one of my favorite silhouettes, and I would definitely be interested in this shoe if it came in my size. So Nike, Jordan, please start bringing out shoes that are just full-size runs, because these are the kind of things I would definitely be interested in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do what we do every single day at this channel, and that's look at the detailing on the shoe first, and then we'll get into the talk part of things later. So let's dive into those questions that I was talking about. And the first one was, I was asking, what is the one detail on this shoe that really elevates it above the rest? And what I'm talking about is a part of the upper material. Now, the upper material is ballistic mesh, which is not the normal material that would make up the top of an Air Jordan 4, and it's a particular detail on that that makes this shoe stand out to me and is a bit above the rest as far as I'm concerned. And what I'm talking about is not the sort of face-on look at that ballistic mesh, but it's actually the side look at it. And what I'm talking about is that where you see the different panels and the different sections of the shoe come together, you can see the side view of the material, and that's where you get your sense of orange. If you just look at it straight on and look at the top end, if you like, of the ballistic mesh, it really doesn't hold any secrets, and it looks, it's almost brown, to be honest, when you look at it sort of straight on. But when you look along it, look at the edge of where the material is joined together in certain places, that's where the orange pops, and that's where this shoe sort of raises above. I've seen them do that at the Nike and Jordan in particular, with a couple of shoes recently. I can't remember the names of them. I do remember the idea that looking along the fabric instead of looking straight onto the end of it, you saw more of the colorway and more of the details of this shoe. And that's what we're seeing with this one here. It's a really cracking upper, really beautiful materials to make an upper out of, and that look along the side gives you an extra sort of dimension, extra feel for the colors. But then flipping that out, the one detail that if you look at it and you can't stop looking at it, and you maybe want to unsee it, is the fact that the waffle eyelets are grey. Doesn't sound surprising on an Air Jordan 4. Having waffle eyelets in grey is not unusual at all, But if you're looking at this picture right here and you start to sort of zone in and really focus in on those grey waffle eyelets, it's like, you know what? I think they should have done a different colour on those ones. The grey really stands out, and it shouldn't, because the rest of the shoe is where that starfish feel is, and having this grey on there really takes away from that starfish element. And hopefully, you know, while I'm talking here, you're looking at those waffle eyelets and you're thinking, you know what? They do kind of stick out a little bit too much in that grey. Now, there's a particular reason for that, I think, and what you need to do is you start down low on the midsole, and you see that some elements of it are in grey, and then some other elements of the midsole are in different colours, which we'll come to later. But staying with that grey midsole element, if you travel back up to the waffle eyelets, it matches, which is fine. But then if you get to the top line of the shoe and the lining, it's much too bright and too light. I think if they'd gotten the lining right at the top there and had that in the right sort of matching grey colourway to those waffle eyelets and that midsole section, it would have been fine. But because of the lightness of the top line and the lining of this shoe, and then that grey in the waffle eyelets there, they kind of don't match enough, and that's why there's a sort of jar and a bit too much, if you ask me. So that kind of, it's almost like every part of the shoe lines up except for the greys, and that's what makes it stand out. Now, if you know, a good place to look at that is to go around to the back, to the heel of these guys, and what you'll see is a Jumpman on the back there, not Nike Air, which is a big sort of question when it comes to Jordan 4s, is whether it says Nike Air on the back or Jumpman on the back. And generally speaking, sneakerheads and people out there want Nike Air and not a Jumpman on the back. But still, it does look good, and it is in that grey colourway on a black background. And again, it sort of reinforces the difference between the solid grey that we've got in the midsole and the waffle eyelets, and then on this branding on the back, and how different that is from the lining up above. And there are other places as well. So that's the grey sort of story of the shoe. But if we go back to the lateral side, what you'll see is there's also a black story to the shoe, and you've got the black on the midsole, and then above that you've got the black mesh, and then above all of that you've got the black on the lacing system, and at the top of the tongue the black branding panel, and on that black branding panel an orange or starfish Jumpman. And of course there will be a debate about whether or not these are shattered backboards, and I think we can just park that debate and say no. They're not. They're starfish. And it was the same thing with those starfish 13s, whether or not they're shattered backboards or not. The starfish line is a colourway in itself, and the shattered backboard is a different colourway. They're totally different things as far as I'm concerned. It's fine that these guys are called starfish, but that black sort of line that runs through the shoe, midsole, mesh on the side, and then up to the lacing system is another place we've got that triple of black, where you had that triple of grey before, and then also your triple of orange, because basically the ballistic mesh is orange, and then on top of that, up high, if you go to the top of the tongue, you've got an orange Jumpman in the branding panel up the top there, and then down low the orange on the outsole, which is very obvious when you look at it laterally, but even more obviously when you flip them upside down and have a look at the bottom of the shoe, and you see that orange, grey and white, I think it is, on the bottom, or sail. It is on the bottom of these guys on the outsole, guys. So going back out and having a look all in all at the shoe, like I said, you know, the 4 silhouette for me is a really big silhouette. It's something that I really, really get into. I'm hypercritical of 4s because I like them so much. And when we celebrated the 30th anniversary year of the 4s 2 years ago in 2019, I was super critical about what they brought out. It was only the cool greys that I liked from that year. But this shoe, you know, it's up there. It's the kind of colourway that I like to see the 4s coming out with. So I'm a very big yes on this shoe, and I just wish it came out in a bigger size run, because I'd definitely be interested in it myself. So as it is though, it's a women's shoe, and it's a great shoe to start off the year. It will be probably the 2nd or 3rd Jordan to drop in January, like I say, on January the 21st, and then a couple of days later on January 23rd you'll have that Jordan 5 Low Chinese New Year. It's a great shoe, and we'll be talking about that in tomorrow's video. So the Jordan line starting the year off pretty strong with some really cracking silhouettes. Of course, it's going to be the 30th anniversary year of the Jordan 6s, so there'll be a lot going on with the 6s this year. But a couple of shoes that we're looking at in January is the 4s and the 5s, which are just beautiful shoes as far as I'm concerned. It's great to be able to bring you that kind of content. For now, though, time for me to sign off, and thank you guys for checking out the content. We're into the new year and trying to keep this thing going and trying to keep on top of this daily content, because I haven't missed a single single day for something like 760, 770 days. So trying to keep that daily content coming for you guys at home. So fingers crossed we're on top of that and everything's working out. So time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. The only thing that's left for me to do is to say the thing that I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day. And that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.